Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
I find it disgusting that the LAPD is slaughtering peaceful protesters on the street. I had two friends go to the protest in Beverly Hills a couple days ago, and the protest was peaceful until the police showed up with their excessive violent force, shooting rubber bullets and throwing tear gas. Is this what you think of protecting and serving? Because I think it's bullshit. Fuck you, Michael Moore. I refuse to call you an officer or a chief because you don't deserve those titles. You are a disgrace. Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you!
Hi. Hey everyone, we are in San Diego today with our friend Justin Pearson of The Locust and so many other amazing musical ventures. We're here in the middle of some serious and necessary civil unrest. So I guess I'll begin with asking you, how are you feeling?
Definitely anxiety, and it sucks because there's times where I'm like, I gotta quit listening to the radio, or I gotta quit looking at like, you know, Democracy Now or whatever. Like I just need to, but then I'm like, well, I also can't like not know, and it's I don't know, it's a trip. There's like this echo chamber on social media, and also people are very, I think, like ready to be just aggressive, and even people that are like-minded, it just seems like very confrontational, I guess, and it's like
where
a waste.
Where is this coming from? Right?
It's a waste of energy. It's like, you know, like, oh, you want to fight me for this, but like we both should be like fighting against like the real issue, you know, the real problem.
We have a saying with us that's been resonating pretty frequently, and it's know your enemy.
Well, that's a good point, because especially like very recently, like where there's like this kind of focus on Antifa and how, like, you know, misunderstanding of what it is. And it's weird for me because I grew up like being aware of Antifa, and it was like, you know, you're either like fascist or you're anti-fascist. You know? It's like, which one are you? You know, and like there was like the whole thing where it's like, you know, like, oh, okay, well, you want to be violent, and I don't want to be violent, and I think like punching a Nazi is not going to make that person be like, oh shit, I'm not going to be a Nazi now. They're going to be like, no, I'm going to be even more of one.
Exactly.
You know? People are taught to hate downwards, and I think that's why the media is spinning certain things. I think that's why you have like weird, you know, white nationalist militia groups like fucking people up. It's like, those people are working class or poor. It's like you hate other people because of what, you know? Like, I don't know, it's a trip. I just think, and the thing is, like, everything's heightened and aggressive, and I think that no one's gonna listen. Like, I don't want to listen to someone yelling at me, so yeah.
I was excited to see that Dead Cross released a cover of Rise Above by Black Flag. I know that this was a direct response from the members of Dead Cross to the current issues that are going on. Would you like to speak a little bit about that experience, what the inspiration was, the drive, and the need to crank it up so fast? Because you guys turned that around really quickly.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. It's interesting because it kind of was like, oh, well, we in the past had covered this MDC song, Dead Cops, and we're like, okay, let's do that. And then I went up to LA and we learned it, and we were gonna start recording, and relearned it, and we were gonna start recording, and we were like, this is probably like not a good idea to like put out a song saying like Dead Cops. So we kind of took a step back, and I came back to San Diego, and then even like before I got to San Diego, everyone's like, let's just cover, you know, a Black Flag song, something that's like a little bit more positive. And Rise Above was something I suggested. Point is, like, we'll just make a statement. And then I was like, hey, the song's done. We should use this sample, which is in the beginning of the song. And that was kind of like, that kind of says a lot. And it kind of embodied, like, I don't think that the gentleman in the sample, I don't know much about him, but it seemed very punk to me, you know, like telling a police chief to suck my dick and choke on it is kind of like, oh, that's next level shit. And
especially to do so in a town council meeting
totally.
where folks are used to maintaining some level of decorum and tact and, you know, all of those things. To see a gentleman that was so terribly enraged that was his message.
Well, he was also on hold for 6 hours before he got to record or to say that piece. So like that 6 hours is gonna make you probably a little bit more pissed.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
I don't know. When I was a little kid and I saw Slayer play, I was like 12 or 13. I remember seeing stickers on the guitar that like had like Dead Kennedys and PIL and like cool shit that was like on the level. Like if it wasn't for those bands or political bands, there wouldn't have been, Slayer wouldn't have been what Slayer was. Go back to like the beginning of metal. It's like Black Sabbath was political. Like they were like talking about like environmentalism, you know, like that's a big deal for that kind of music, you know. So there's the metal realm, you know, and then there's
You can go to
so many
places like
different
U2.
Yeah.
Amazing, wonderful band. A unit that has stayed together the entire time. Always the same guys. And they're extremely political.
But the thing with U2 is like, they're kind of like the Oprah Winfrey of rock and roll, you know? Like, so like, there's a nuance to it, and like, I think the mainstream can
More
probably,
digestible.
They're just like, oh yeah, we don't, like Sunday Bloody Sunday, like they don't really know, it's like background music. No offense to them or Oprah, but it's just like, I get it, like, but it's like, you come out saying like fucking gnarly shit, like MDC, you know, then you're like, okay, this is like offensive, or like fucking my brain up, like I'm gonna react in this certain way, you know, like it's not just like, oh yeah, cool, like that was a killer track on the local radio or whatever it was, you know, like it's like, oh no, this is something that's like in your face and it's confrontational or combative, or I don't know, like it makes you think or makes you feel
angry,
a certain
or
way,
makes you feel emboldened to push towards that change.
Sure, yeah.
Regardless of the music genre, the fact is music is political, and there is no more political type of music than punk and hip hop. I believe those two genres really do have the market on the politics.
Sure.
And being as you are yourself a DIY punker, you come from political backgrounds in music.
I mean, I don't have a choice. So, yeah, I don't have a choice.
Right, it is what it
It
is.
would be really nice to just be like, I'm gonna put this out and like not really have a message, or not have, to not even give a shit in my regular life, you know, like beyond anything that I would be like putting out there for people to absorb or to connect with. Just, I can't even imagine how it must be to like not care and not find it like concerning that like, we need to say something right now about Black Lives Matter. Like, I don't know, those artists that choose not to, that's fine, but I can't like relate to that aspect. I don't know. So I just have to watch how you have to be careful. There's a nuance to it, but also like I won't be silenced and I won't be passive. So
Yay. Yay to you. So, you have a very large community that you've cultivated and that you nurture and that you are a part of in the 31G label. I know that each of these bands that are on your label and all of the artists that they also branch out and play with, because there are very, very many. Find 31G, check it out, look at all the bands, amazing. Everybody's got their own opinions, everyone has their own things to say, and you, through 31G, have provided a platform for them to do this. And so obviously I see that's important to you. What is it about the 31G community that you would like everyone here to know?
well, for one, like I don't know that I provided something. I think it grew on its own. So like I started the label out of necessity without realizing that it was a necessity. Like, oh, I could put out this record and do better than these other people, and it's still, you know, whatever. Like we could figure this out, and then it became like a bigger thing. Like, oh, these are my friends that I met on tour. Let's do that record. Let's do this, and then it became a thing. And because the help of certain artists being part of it, it grew. You know, it grew to something exponential that I didn't ever think it would be. We're, I think, at 108 releases now, and that's crazy to me to think about that. But the thing is, like, and a lot of it was like kind of through the Locust, like going on tour and meeting people and playing with people and creating a bond with them and really understanding them. Because it's one thing to go see a band or to buy their record and that's it. But like to go hang out, you know, at soundcheck, or to go out to eat after the show, or to just shoot the shit about whatever, to go like, I don't know, when you're broke. And I remember like going to like casinos because we figured out a way to beat roulette, and we're all broke, so we're like at a casino, like there was this like theory behind it, like, okay, we gotta make some money so we can get a hotel tonight or something, you know. And like you connect, you're having this time, you're spanning time with these people, so you're understanding things, you're seeing sides that you don't necessarily see as them when they're performing. So yeah, there's like all this like subversiveness, there's all this like political stuff that might be on the level or buried somewhere in there. But a good example would be like Quintron and Miss Pussycat. I don't think they would ever say they're political. You know, an organ player with a drum buddy and a puppet show. Like normally you don't see any politics in it, but then it's like, okay, they're doing a puppet show where they're talking about like taking LSD and like fighting cops. There's like some shit in there. Like, yeah, it's funny and it's cute and like campy, and you can kind of laugh it off, but it's the same kind of thing that like, I think going back to like the response that like Dead Cross is trying to get from the Rise Above cover. Like, I think that like when you go see Quintron and Miss Pussycat, you're not like, whatever. You're just like, what the fuck was that? Or you were like, oh my god, I'm gonna, you know, dance my ass off and like this and that and whatever. You're still absorbing the information. You're still kind of, I don't want to say learning, but you're engaging and you're getting some sort of energy, and something is happening chemically or whatever. So to me it seems political. And also too, it's like you meet these people and you're like, they're good human beings. My favorite artist currently, I mean, there's always stuff going on, but like and some of it's 3-1-G related. I mean, I love Innis. It's Bobby from the Locust band. It's Innis, but Bobby is my brother. I'm obsessed with Luke Henshaw's other project, Sonido de la Frontera, which is a cumbia band. Cattle Decapitation, obviously, like those guys. I mean, I think Travis Ryan is probably one of the best vocalists ever, and definitely in San Diego. I mean, these are all people like, again, like it's the DIY ethic, but it's also like a communal thing. It's also a family thing. It kind of comes all comes full circle. And then even like branching out like beyond just music stuff, like, you know, like there's this place called Heartwork Coffee, and it's like my favorite coffee shop in San Diego, and it's owned by a whole bunch of people, a bunch of people, but like it's also owned, some of those owners are like Rob Moran from Unbroken, who is also in Some Girls, and Narrows, and then Sam, who was also in Narrows as well with Rob. So it's like it's a coffee shop, but it's also like as equivalent to a record store or a band or another entity that like has those same ethics. I have a message, but like my message is more so of just like listening, because I think people don't listen, and that's the problem. So instead of me saying like, this is the thing that I should say to you guys, and you should do this, and we should do this, or this is right or wrong, or feel this or whatever, like I think like just listen, because I don't think people do.